Adding content to your Canvas course. Content in Canvas is typically displayed to your students through the Modules tool. And that's what you're seeing here in a sample Canvas course. Modules are containers, groups of links to content that contain links to related content in some way. For instance, here we've got a module entitled Getting Started, right here, that contains information that the students are likely to need before they start working on your course content, the types of things you might cover on the first day of the class. After that, you'll typically see a series of content modules, each of which contains links to content and other links, which are related to some logical subdivision of your course, like the first week of the course, or the first chapter in the textbook, or the first topic that you're going to cover, which is what you see here. What I'm going to show you now is how to create these content modules and links, and how to upload content to your Canvas course. Let's go to a blank course that looks just like what your blank shells will be when you get them. Since we're building this course from scratch, that is, we're uploading content to start with, we're going to click on this icon on the home page of the blank shell that's labeled Create a New Module. Our alternative would be to load content from an old Canvas course or a Blackboard course or some other place, something we've gotten from a publisher or whatever. But here we're going to be building a course from scratch. So I'm going to click Create a New Module, and we'll get our first module. And more often than not, that first module is the module that contains housekeeping information about the course, things that you would cover on the first day of class. You can call it anything you like. And all I have to do to create this module is to give it a name. So I'm just going to call it Getting Started. And I'll add it. And now I have my first empty module. So what might we want to put in here? Well, I'm sure you can think of things right off the bat that your students need before they start actually working on your course content. First thing might well be the syllabus. So how do we get a syllabus in here? Well, on the same line as the name of the module, we have these icons here. And the plus sign, not surprisingly, is the icon we use to get started in adding content to the module. And in Canvas, content usually takes one of three forms. It can be a file that you have created offline or acquired in some way and that you will upload to Canvas and create a link to. Or it can be a Canvas page, which is sort of like a little web page, an HTML file that you create inside Canvas, to which you add text, graphics, video, things like that. Or it can be an external URL. We used to call those a web link in Blackboard, which is a link to content external to Canvas, stored somewhere out on the web. Let's start with the Canvas page, because that's probably how most of your information is going to be conveyed. Since this is a new page that we're planning on making, we'll click New Page. At that point, we're just prompted to give the page a name. And it'd be nice to have a welcome for our students, right? So I'm going to call it This material is from a sample course that I often use in these tutorials that was derived from an online professional development course in the multimedia technique of screencasting. So I'm going to welcome my students to this course with this page that I've just created here, but there's nothing in it yet. If I click on the link, the name of the page, I can bring up the page but it's empty. But I have an edit button over here that will allow me to put content into this page. So let's see, what might we put here? I do have a video welcome that I made for this page, so I might go ahead and put that in. So how do I embed video into a page? There are actually a few ways to do that in the content editor that we're using here in Canvas, but this is one of the more common ones. This icon right here in this second row of icons in the content editor, it says Insert Edit Media. And I have a number of options here as well. I can just put in a link to the video. By source, they mean what's the address of that video on the web, or I can embed it. The embed is a little sexier and kind of sucks people in better, so I'm going to use that. And it then asks me for my embed code. If this video is a YouTube video, as is likely, we can bring up the video in YouTube, click the share button below the video, and select the embed tab, and then just click copy to copy that embed code to our clipboard. I can then just paste that into this box here using Control V and click OK, and there it is. The video is now embedded into my page. That's all I probably need here, so I'll save that. And I now have my first page in my new Canvas course. Let's go back to the Modules tool here. And the next thing I might add to this Getting Started module, the next thing I might do on the first day of class is provide the students with some information about their instructor, me in this case. So I can add another item of content here. This would probably be a page as well, and it'll be a new page. And I'll call this one Instructor Information. I could, of course, call it anything I wanted. Another blank page. Again, to start adding content to the page, I just click on the name of the page here in the module, and then I edit the module, or the page. So what information might I provide? Well, one of the first things that students probably want in an online course, believe it or not, is a picture of you. They want to see what you look like. Makes a huge difference for some reason. So I can do that by clicking on this little embed image icon in the content editor here. I will probably want the image to be stored on Canvas. Don't know why that's not the default. And I'll probably store it in my course files. And I can now go ahead, once I tell Canvas that, I can go ahead and upload the file by clicking on this button here. I have to have this image file somewhere on my computer already. I just click open once I've selected that picture. And before I go ahead and update that to the page, I probably need to put what's called alt text onto it so that blind students who are using screen readers will know what this picture is. And we'll go update. All right, that's obviously a little bigger than it needs to be. I can size the picture by grabbing the corner handles here and make it smaller so that it doesn't overwhelm the screen. And I can maybe center it. All right, the next thing I might want to put in there is my name. You just type in text into a page. Certainly, that's one of the more common things to do. I can center that text. I can bold it if I want to make it a little more readable. And I can give them a little bit more information about me, maybe. I just pasted that in from another location. So you can copy and paste text. You can type text. You can edit text in all the usual ways. You can bold it, italicize it, underline it, change the color, center it, left justify, right justify, and so on, all in this content editor. That ought to do. Let's just save this page and go back to the modules. And we'll see we've got our first two items in there. I'll add one more thing to this Getting Started module before we move on, and that you'd probably guess would be the syllabus. This is a great place to put your syllabus file. I can do that by, once again, pushing the plus sign there. And this time, rather than building the syllabus live in a page on Canvas, I'm going to just upload the syllabus as a file. I've already got that file on my hard drive, local hard drive, and I can just put that file in. So I'll go ahead and say New File, and I'll choose the file that I'm going to upload, and I'll need to be able to find that file. I'm sure I've got that stored here somewhere. And there it is, the Introduction to Camtasia Syllabus. I'll just click Open to choose that file, and then click Add Item to upload it to Canvas and to create a link to it right here. File name is what appears here in the link by default, but it's probably better to go ahead and edit that name. I can do that by going to the little menu link or action link out here to the right on the line where that link has been formed, and select Edit. This won't allow me to edit the document, it just allows me to edit the name that appears for the linked item. And that's probably good. I can just update that, and that should do fine. The syllabus file is a Word document, as you probably noticed, and all the student has to do to view it is to click on the link to it, and Canvas provides a Word viewer, indeed provides viewers for many common file types, so that the file does not have to download all the way to the student's computer and then trigger a Word viewer, like Word itself, to open and bring up the document. It shows up much faster than that in Canvas because of these server-side viewers. However, if the student wants to download a copy of the file, they can click this link right here, and the file will download to their local computer. Let's go back to the Modules tool. You can probably think of other things to add here, but I'd like to start on our first actual subject matter content module. To make another module is fairly obvious here. You just hit the big blue Add Module button or plus module button. And as you did with the first module, you just give it a name. I'm going to be unimaginative and call it Module 1, but maybe I'll add a little more information about the topic. Indeed, I might just call that Topic 1. That'll work. And add module, and I have another blank module. So now I can continue adding files and pages of content information to this module. First thing I might add is a file that I have handy that explains what screencasting is. Useful thing to know. I just click File and New File and choose File, and there's my what is screencasting file, another Word document. I'll open that and click Add Item. I'll clean up that name a little bit again by editing out here at the end. And then update it. And again, this file will just come right up when a student clicks on the link. The third type of content item that you're likely to put into a Canvas module is a web link, or as Canvas terms it, an external URL. In this case, I add content always by clicking that plus sign, and I'll select this time external URL instead of file or page. And now I'm asked to provide the web address or URL for that resource, as well as a name for the link here. The link is one I scrounged from a software provider's website on the web, and it is the TechSmith Guide to Screencasting. And I'll probably usually want to add these or load these in a new tab. Then I'll add the item. And that's all there is to creating a web link or an external URL. If a student clicks on that, they'll be asked to open that in a new window. And there's the external resource. And we'll do the same thing again and select external URL. And here's the URL for this one. I just Control V to paste that in. And this is a set of sample screencasts, so people can see what a screencast is rather than just relying on a description. And if I click on that, up would come a montage of sample screencasts. So I've got the beginnings of 2 content modules here. To finish building out this course, I would just keep at this. In our next video, we'll see how to add links to things like assessments and communication tools to these same modules.